The world was never known to be merciful and accepting of anyone not up to par with their set standards. To be a high upstanding and obedient citizen is known to be greatly rewarded, while other unfit variants are shunned and harshly criticized for just being a failure of the system they created. But one young man refused to conform to such a waste of time. He was always known to be the odd one out in the eyes of the others, and especially for everything in his life. Other people are one of how many other children? He was an only child. School doing a sports game or any event that called for a group to work together, he was always the last one to be picked. It had always been so irritating back then, and it didn't help that the other kids around him were always so afraid of him whenever he expressed himself or his complaints. Whatever. He decided that it didn't matter to him anyway. He learned to enjoy being on his own, and it saved him the headache of dealing with whiny brats that always blamed him for how they'd end up getting hurt on account of their own stupidity. He had decided then and there that he'd be fine with being on his own for the rest of his life, just avoiding everybody for the sake of keeping his sanity. But that was until, one day, while he was surfing through the internet, he found himself receiving a friend request that changed his life forever. He was taken to an unusual forum where his new cyber acquaintance introduced it as a place where the outside world had no bearing, and the users could run free with whatever they wanted to say without repercussions. He didn't really think much about it, just that it was some place the weak-minded could never stomach. But he then became intrigued when he was made an offer. He was to become the leader of an up-and-coming secret society for the lost and unawakened people on this anonymous forum. Him? A leader of a bunch of random other people? The thought never even crossed his mind, it was so outlandish. However, it actually seemed a bit exciting, and he was quick to agree to it, and he didn't need to do any extensive research on what he was supposed to be the leader of. All he was really told to remember that the deity they were worshipping were coming to bring the lost, disillusioned people to this place called paradise, and there was nothing else to it. But if the people he was leading had questions about it, he was just told to direct them to the website provided, and that they could read up on all they needed to there. This was literally like a gift from God. Or rather, this Serena being. He realized this thing was supposed to be some kind of fallen angel, but he didn't care enough to verse himself into the lore or backstory behind this thing. With a new group of underlings and some new interesting developments taking place in his previously boring and uneventful life, he thought it couldn't have gotten much better than that.